Hi, I'm Jen Burden with the Oil Region Alliance of Business, Industry, and Tourism, where I am the Heritage Program Manager. ORA has organized the Oil Region Historic Preservation Awards since 1997 and has made over 150 awards to regional organizations, businesses, and individuals since that date. The awards are held in May, which is National Preservation Month, and typically in a venue within the oil region, and it's open to the public to celebrate the winners. Like with so much else last year, the 2020 awards were canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we are excited to bring back the awards this year, even though we're filming the presentations rather than holding a live ceremony. The call for nominations goes out community-wide early each year, and everyone is welcome to nominate a project, organization, business, or individual that is committed to historic preservation within the Oil Region National Heritage Area. More information about the award categories and nomination rules are available at oilregion.org under the Heritage tab. The nominations are reviewed by a panel of judges from our sponsor organizations. This year's sponsors include the Crawford County Historical Society, Franklin Preservation Association, Inc., Friends of Drake Well, Inc., the Heritage Society of Oil City, the Oil City Main Street Program, Oil Region Alliance of Business, Industry, and Tourism, the Titusville Historical Society, Titusville Renaissance.INC., the Venango County Historical Society, and the Venango Museum of Art, Industry, and Science. This year's 7 award winners range from individuals for a passion for history and historic preservation, municipalities and nonprofits that are working to preserve their unique resources, and 2 groups that saved and restored a historic gas engine and gas station to celebrate the history of this region. These people and groups have helped bring history to life for the residents and visitors to the Oil Region National Heritage Area, and tonight we celebrate their efforts. I would like to introduce Carol Hall with the Titusville Historical Society.
Hello, I'm here to represent the Titusville Historical Society in presenting David Weber, a member of the Society for many years, a 2021 Preservation Award in honor and appreciation of his many years devoted to acquiring and sharing historical knowledge of the oil region. I'm sad to say that David cannot be here to accept the award because I'm sure he would be delighted to be recognized for his excellent work. As many of you know, David just recently passed away without knowing of this honor, which is very unfortunate. For certainly he is indeed considered an expert in the history of all aspects of this region. David was born and raised in this area. He lived with his family in Pleasantville until just before his death, when he had moved into Titusville following the death of his mother in December. David was a graduate of Titusville High School, the class of 1975. After graduating from high school, he attended and received a degree in history from Edinburgh University. David spent his life acquiring a vast and varied knowledge of the area, including important events and people in oil history and the logging industry which preceded it. He was uncannily able to come up with facts about national and world events and people in the fields of arts, sports, businesses, and other areas, and if they had connections to Titusville. He was very familiar with businesses and industries which were once prominent in this region. During time spent researching and assisting at Drake Well Museum, He conducted and recorded a number of oral interviews with people who had worked in regional businesses or industries as a means of preserving the history of those times. The board of the Friends of Drake Well recently discussed having those interviews transcribed into a usable format so that history will be available to researchers and others. Using the knowledge he had amassed over the years, David produced numerous house and building histories. He completed genealogical investigations and was the author of several books and articles. Some of the articles have appeared in the Pennsylvania Heritage magazine. We, the members of the Titusville Historical Society, are very grateful to the Preservation Award Committee for selecting David for this honor. Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Kathy Bailey of the Oil City Main Street Program.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, I am very happy to be here today. I am very pleased to present the Historic Preservation Award to the City of Oil City for a structure for repair and restoration of the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. This is a monument that was constructed in 1928. It is located in Central Avenue Plaza, which is a very prominent area of our downtown and something that we are very attuned to in terms of bringing people to downtown in various locations. Central Avenue Plaza is the location for our farmers market and for many events downtown. So in addition to our focus for historic preservation of buildings, we also are aware that a structure, a very important structure in our downtown, was restored. This is something that came about in 2016 to 2017. It was noticed that this was starting to need some work. And so by 2019 is when work really started to take effect. And this is due to Howard FAUNCE, the Director of Public Works, attention to the matter and rallying the city together and also our local community to raise money for the restoration and for the project itself. And so what has been done is, through the result of this effort, this structure has been preserved for generations to come. It is a testament to our veterans, all of our veterans, and it is in good shape for years to come. So I'm very pleased to present this award to the City of Oil City. So right now, I would like to call Mayor Bill Moon and Howard FAUNCE, Director of Public Works, to the podium, and I would like to present your award. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate the award that you gave us from the Oil Region Alliance. It was in need of repair. My office is pretty close to that monument, and I get to see it every day when I drive home. But I want to thank Howard FAUNCE for rounding up some donations for that, and Macon Masonry for making the repairs to the monument, and it looks great, and it'll be, like Kathy said, it'll be last for future generations to review, and also our veterans in the community. I want to thank you for that, and have a great day.
I just wanted to thank the citizens that donated the money. We got the money real quick from everybody in the library, helped with the donations also. That's all. I'm not much of a speaker.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Emily Altomare of the Titusville Renaissance Incorporated.
Titusville Renaissance Incorporated is proud to nominate and now present Benson Memorial Library of 213 North Franklin Street in Titusville this award for preservation stewardship. The award is for the 2023 Benson Memorial Library of 213 North Franklin Street in Titusville. This award is for preservation stewardship. The 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 award is for preservation stewardsh Benson Memorial Library is a 117-year-old structure located in Titusville Historic District. Construction began in 1902 and the library opened in 1904. Renovations were completed over the last century, but the windows had not been replaced since 1974, leaving the building with energy efficiency issues and a less than dazzling appearance. Once the decision was made to replace the windows, it was decided to recreate the original historic design as closely as possible using modern materials. Seaway Window of Erie used 1902 drawings by architects Jackson, Rosencrantz, and Canfield of New York City and turn-of-the-century postcards to design new windows to closely mimic the originals. The new windows have revived the library's historic facade and character while greatly improving its use for years to come. As an independent revitalization organization committed to the enhancement of the greater Titusville community, Titusville Renaissance recognizes the importance of our library as a resource, a gathering place, and a landmark. We applaud any and all efforts that prolong the existence of this important Titusville amenity. With that, I would like to extend congratulations to Benson Memorial Library and present this award for preservation stewardship to the library's executive director, Jess Hilburn. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Emily. First, I want to say thank you to the Titusville Renaissance for nominating us for this award and to the Oil Region Alliance for awarding us in this category. I'd also like to thank the Benson Memorial Library Board of Directors, who were all very on board with this project, and our two main funders, which were the John Nesbitt Rees and Sarah Henney Rees Charitable Foundation and the Fleming Family Foundation. Without those two organizations, this project would not have been possible. Also Seaway Window, who designed the windows and made them as beautiful and as close to the historic versions as they possibly could, and the staff and patrons of the library, who were very forgiving with us having to be closed while the windows were being installed. This project had been in my sights ever since I first went into the library because we have such a beautiful historic building, but the windows were in such bad shape that they were really hurting our overall aesthetic and our ability to serve and do a good job at all of the things that we want to do. And so in early 2020, I went about soliciting quotes for this project, and there were a bunch of wonderful companies that made great designs, and Seaway's design won out with how close they were able to come to the original windows. And ultimately, this project has made it so that the library not only looks more like it did in 1904 when we originally opened, but also helps us to fulfill our service mission. So thank you very much.
Now I'd like to introduce Betsy Kellner of the Venega Museum of Art, Science, and Industry.
Hello, it is my privilege to be here today to present the 2021 Oil Region Historic Preservation Award to the Heritage Society of Oil City for the structure restoration of a 1923 Reed gas engine. This has been a project that was needed here in Oil City, and I happen to be at the museum, so I can look out my door every day in my window and see what happened, and I'm very proud to give this to Dave Anderton and Dave Heinzer, representing the Oil Heritage Society of Oil City.
Thank you, Betsy. Yep. I'm Dave Anderton with the Heritage Society of Oil City. I'm here with Dave Heinzer. And about 3 years ago, we decided that, maybe a Reed gas engine would be something that would be appropriate for downtown Oil City, as Reed Engine Company was instrumental in the early days of the oil industry. And so we decided in our heritage group to consider finding an engine. And fortunately, as they say, things started to snowball. We found an engine. It was donated to us from out of Ohio. Turns out it was a 1923 Reed, built in February of 1923 here in Oil City. Subsequent to that, we've had so many people step forward, help us with this project. We've had donations of money from individuals. We received a grant from the Elizabeth S. Black Sewer Sewer Black Charitable Trust through PNC. And so we were able to fund this project, and it has resulted in what you'll see now in front of the PennDOT building on Elm Street in Oil City. If you get down there, you'll see the 1923 reed permanently attached to the ground and installed with all the little fittings on it. The main reason that engine's there today is because of Venango Technology Center. The oil and gas class up at Venango Technology spent over a year restoring that engine. What we received from Ohio was the core engine, 6,000 pounds of pretty rusted cast iron. And they worked on that engine for over a year and resulted in what's down there today. Subsequent to that, we did receive a lot of parts and donated labor and expertise from certain individuals in the area who are very familiar with Reed gas engines and helped us fit that engine out to make it look right and to make it look original, which it does. So we'd like to thank ORA for this presentation award. And Dave, do you have anything to say?
Nope, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. And to all those that helped us.
I'd like to introduce Jess Hilburn of the Titusville Renaissance Incorporated.
Windfall Rod Shop, led by Bob Joyce, is being awarded an Oil Region Alliance Historic Preservation Award for the reconstruction of an historic 1920s Sun Oil station. The vintage Sun Oil Company gas station that now lives on South Franklin Street in Titusville was rescued from near collapse in Fertigs. The station was originally built in the 1920s. When Bob and his compatriots at Windfall Rod Shop found the station, it was in poor condition with only the bare bone structure remaining. The elements of the station, such as the unique curved roof, were disassembled and hauled 40 miles on a 1975 Lodestar to Titusville. A restoration plan and mock-up drawing were completed. The station foundation and structure were rebuilt and the original upper portion and roof attached via crane. An image of the 1920s Sun Oil station was used as inspiration for the recreation of the facade. Gas pumps and signage were then added to revive the historic aesthetic flair. Sun Oil Company was founded in 1890 by Titusville residents Joseph Newton Pugh and Edward O. Emerson. The company's first service station opened in the 1920s, and the company went public on the stock market in the early 1920s. In the mid-1950s, the company introduced custom blending, which allowed service station customers to choose from multiple octane ratings while still at the pump. And in November 1998, the company became Sunoco and remains today one of the most recognizable names in the fuel and oil industries. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it. Well, thank you for the award, and I just want to thank Jack McNerney, who we bought the gas station from. He had this baby preserved out in Fertigs, PA. It needed a lot of work, and you can see from some of the photos we have. And I got to thank the guys from our shop, Windfall Rod Shop. We do restoration work, but Sean Gustafson did all the contracting on it. Gordon Lamy did all the fabrication on it. Steve Kahlers, our guy that goes and gets whatever we need. And I know I'm forgetting some other, Jamie, who did all the photography on it, Jamie Stroop, and all the other people did all the heavy lifting on it. And I was just happy and proud to be part of the project. So thanks again.
I'd like to introduce Emily Altomare from the Titusville Renaissance Incorporated.
Thanks, Jen. Titusville Renaissance, Inc. is pleased to award the City of Titusville this Historic Preservation Award for Preservation, Education, and Initiative for Titusville's Design Guide for Historic Buildings. This set of professionally developed guidelines was based on National Park Service standards with special attention to the unique architectural and heritage of Titusville. The guide provides a description of the Titusville National Register Historic District, an overview and illustrations of Titusville's historic house styles, and detailed recommendations for prioritizing and designing repairs to historic elements of residential and business structures, walkways, and fencing. The guide is full of Titusville images, both photographic and line drawings, to illustrate architectural style and detail, and is presented to the people of Titusville as voluntary recommendations for their use. It is provided as a PDF for free online on the City of Titusville's website and also the Titusville PA heritageconnection.org site, and is also available in hard copy form at Titusville Historical Society, Benson Memorial Library, and the Titusville City Hall. The Historic Design Guide emerges from years of study by the Titusville Planning Commission on how to protect Titusville historic architecture. The Planning Commission conducted a survey of city residents and indicated clear concern about losing historical buildings and heritage, but a reluctance to have any mandated or codified protections. After consultation with Bill Callahan, the Western PA Community Preservation Coordinator of the Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Office, the Planning Commission decided to begin the process of historic protection by seeking grants for voluntary historic design guides and using an educational approach to historic preservation. With clear vocal support of the citizens and members of the Titusville Planning Commission, City Council members decided to approve the grant process. In March of 2016, the application was written by the TPC members, Rhonda Clark and Abby Popescu, and submitted to PHMC. The grant was awarded in May of 2016 for a sum of $15,000, and an anonymous donor supplied the city match. Grant workflow included the creation of a design guide committee, which included Dr. Rhonda Clark, Abigail Watson-Popescu, Esther Smith, Bill Edelman, Larry Manross, Lori Baker, Marilyn Black, Bill Callahan, Jackie Kramer, Kirk Decker, Sarah Goodman, Marilyn Marsh, and Kathy Newsom. Their tasks included public meetings, review and editing of the document by the committee and design firm, and the completion and presentation of the finished guides in the fall of 2018. This award has been a long time coming, but Titusville Renaissance Incorporated has always supported the creation of these guidelines and is so pleased to recognize the efforts of everyone involved in their creation. It is our hope that this award helps to shine a spotlight onto these guides and their existence and encourages those in the Titusville community to turn to the guides when making decisions about home improvement and preservation. And I encourage everyone to get a copy of the guides and become familiar with them. As a community enhancement organization, Titusville Renaissance, Inc. values the design guide for historic buildings as a resource for current and future residents and applauds the encouragement of historic preservation in our community. On behalf of Titusville Renaissance, I am happy to congratulate the Titusville Planning Commission and present this Historic Preservation Award for Preservation Education and Initiative to the City of Titusville. Accepting this award are Mayor John Crouch and Planning Commission members Dr. Rhonda Clark and Abby Watson-Popescu. Congratulations.
Thank you. On behalf of the Planning Commission, we wanted to show you the guidelines in their printed format. They are full color and available to the public for free on the city website, as well as available through the heritageconnection.org site and at Benson Memorial Library for people to look at in person. We did want to emphasize that this was funded through the Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Office through grant, and that the city match as well helped to provide the funding, and also the city initiative should be recognized. The city council voting in favor of applying for this grant, the wonderful work of many folks on the committee, as well as just everyday citizens who came forward to say how important this initiative was. So we're very pleased that the guidelines have come to fruition, and we hope that they'll provide many years of useful resources for Titusville not only residents, but also business owners and others who are volunteering on historic sites and restorations.
Thank you. It's a hard act to follow, but thank you for this award on behalf of City Council and the City of Titusville. We wholeheartedly accept this. And I was just sitting here thinking that the three of us up here right now also live in historic homes in Titusville, so we care that much about history and preserving historic sites the best we can. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Daniel Weiland of Franklin Preservation.
Thank you. On behalf of Franklin Preservation, we are happy to be presenting an Oil Region Alliance National Heritage Award to Dr. Sanandela in the category of Historic Appreciation. Dr. Sanandela and his wife Marie came to Franklin in 1972, he to establish a medical practice and she to involve herself in historic preservation. Am I correct on that? Yes. Dr. Sanandela is a strong advocate of preservation and made the purchase of the Old Lutheran Church a reality. The Old Lutheran Church is one of our signature projects for Franklin Preservation. He continues to be active in the process of restoration of the church. He also established a preservation grant within the city of Franklin and donated generously to the Franklin Preservation's restoration and cleaning of the Venango County Civil War Monument. We are fortunate to partner with Dr. Sanandela on our projects, and on our heartfelt thanks goes to you and congratulations.
Thank you.
So this is a certificate that they present you with.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and privilege to be here to talk about the Old Lutheran Church. I drove past it almost every day, and at one point, it was supposed to be torn down, and that upset me. It upset me because an important part of the architecture and history of Venango County and Franklin. So I bought it. I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I bought it. Historic preservation became very involved in it, and realized the importance of it. And there are 4 major historic benefits of restoration of the Old Lutheran Church. Number 1 is the culture. The culture of the church was a group of people, all fairly local. It had a lot for the horses and buggies. The people knew each other, helped each other out. They decided to build it because it was needed. The second major benefit is education. It educates us today about the society and what it was like. When the Old Lutheran Church was built in 1886. People worked together. People helped. all for one cause. They wanted a place to worship. Next, the third major benefit would be economics. They didn't have a lot of money, but they had skills. They had know-how. They had knowledge. They were smart. So, the parishioners and other people, but mainly the parishioners, helped build that small church. It wasn't a church that was very long. I mean, there was no microphones. There were candles, no lights. So it's a small-sized church. It was built in 1886. It also, the fourth major benefit was the environment. They built it with materials that are right handy. The wood right there. The parishioners helped. Not very high, it's all on one floor. It's a wonderful structure. So, the major benefits of historic restoration are culture, education, economy, and environment. And when I was approached by Historic Preservation, and they wanted to become involved, I was one happy person. Why? Well, we moved here from Virginia, and my wife, Marie, in a relatively short period of time after moving here, was in charge of historic preservation, president. And at that time, probably mid-70s, 1970s, they had a meeting, city council meeting, and the vote was 6 against and 2 for historic preservation. Well, we lived in Virginia. Everything in Virginia is historic preserved. And it upset us and upset her. She at that time was president of the Historic Society in Franklin. And one time I came home and there were 18 women in my house. And they were talking about what they could do, not for the Lutheran Church, but for historic preservation. And so what they decided to do is, in 1977 and 1978, they got approval from City Council that they would have experts come from Harrisburg or Washington, D.C., Historical Society, organization, people, leaders. And they came about 4 times a year and gave a talk to Historic Preservation Society. But these women had that lined up on the same night as City Council meeting. And they got City Council to agree to listen to that expert for a short period of time. I don't know how long, 10, 15 minutes, I don't know. So, in 1978 and 79, the City Council had heard 7 or 8 lectures about the importance of historic preservation, not only for Franklin, but for Venango County and for the people. And in January of 79, so they heard these speakers in 1978, 77, 78. In January of 79, they had another vote. This time, it was 6 for and 2 against. Wonderful. And now Franklin was a historic district. And really, the lamp posts, the places for the waste, the streets, everything was paid for by the government of Pennsylvania or Washington, D.C. If you owned a store downtown, you had to get your front approved by the historic district to be okay for that time. And once you had it approved, let's say it cost $20,000 to fix it up, fine. The historic district would give you $10,000. You would borrow $10,000 at 0.2% interest. That's $20 on 1,000. I don't know what the average cost was to fix it up. It was probably $5,000 to $7,000, but I really don't know. But every storefront owner had to have it approved, then fixed up within a period of time. I think it was about 3.5 years. So if you invested your money in it, you knew everybody else had to do it in a certain period of time. And when that was done, your store value went up more than the money you spent and the money loan given to you to fix your storefront up. So I'm very excited about the old Lutheran Church, that the Historic Preservation is going to look into it and fix it up, and they've already started. It's a wonderful job. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort, it takes work, it takes money. The first phase is done. We're now collecting for the second phase. So it's so important for us to learn about historic preservation, because the culture, the education, the economy, and the environment. Thank you for letting me talk today. I really appreciate it. And I thank all historic preservation people for the work they've done over the years to keep Franklin an historic district and preserve Venango County. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us to celebrate the 2021 Oil Region Historic Preservation Award winners. The original plan for the award ceremony was to have this in Oil City to commemorate Oil City's 150th anniversary. Because of COVID, we decided to do a film presentation rather than in person. But hopefully next year, we can do this again in person in Oil City. We'll celebrate 151 years of the city's history. I want you all to start thinking about nominees for next year. What building have you seen work done? What group do you know that's doing a lot of preservation work that celebrates the history of our region that you think needs to be recognized? Nominations are typically announced or available early in the year, and it will be available on our website, oilregion.org, and on our Facebook page. Thanks again for joining us, and take care.